Peacock dropped 3 episodes of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 3. We got also Real Housewives of New Jersey, kind of a snooze fest, but I did love seeing the Aydins drunk and a mess. And the final part of Real Housewives of Miami reunion. All that and more. Stay tuned. What up, y'all? Welcome back. It's your boy DJ Jesse J, and you already know I got my boo, Courtney Stewart. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
You know, we're giving y'all, some Regis and Kelly vibes, or I guess, the modern term would be, what is it? Ryan and Kelly.
Ryan and Kelly, but he about to go too, so.
Oh.
Then it's gonna be Michael and Kelly, or Marcus. What's her husband name? Mark Consuelos.
Mark Consuelos, yeah. I like him. I like Mark.
I actually like them together. I've been seeing people come for them real hard on the internet, and I'd be like, why y'all mad? They seem happy.
Agreed.
They've had good kids, good career. Like, I feel good about them.
Shout out to everyone in the chat. We got Jade. Good morning, Bo. Hey. And shout out to everyone on TikTok. I can finally go live because, like I told y'all last week, my nephew went viral on my TikTok. So, hey. Shout out to my nephew. And why we didn't do the show was actually because I'm here. You
back on the Cape.
Back in the Cape. Had to do a little, quick little 1-2. The time zones is killing me. And I really thought I was going to be able to pull off a Thursday show. And baby, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But... And then also when Courtney was like, Peacock dropped 3 episodes of the girls trip, I was like, oh, we gonna put that down right now because absolutely.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't expecting 3 episodes. I was like, wait, are they going to give us the whole season up front? And then
but okay. I thought that too, and then I thought to myself, I do remember Miami. We got 3 episodes.
Did we? Mm-hmm. I mean. I don't recall. But I feel like the original girls trip or the last girls trip, didn't they drop all the episodes for the girls trip?
I don't know. Sure. I think I binged that one though, but I loved that one, the Dorinda House one. That was great.
I enjoyed that.
And to our surprise, we were personally, me and Courtney were kind of dreading the girls trip. And waiting for the next one where we find out Brandy touched Caroline. But allegedly. This one's actually, I'm kind of into this. Yeah, allegedly.
I am, shockingly, because it took them forever to give us a trailer for this one. They weren't talking about it. They weren't telling us when it was coming. And everybody was basically forgot about it for the most part because everybody was focused on what's next with Brandy and what's the name, Caroline Manzo. But they showed up and showed out.
So did. All right, so let's just jump into girls trip and then we'll get into Jersey and Miami. But so the girls are in Thailand. I have to say, I don't know if you noticed this. I'm sure you did, or if you even did it. But I don't know how I feel. It's kind of a love-hate thing with Peacock, the interactive screen thing that they did. Did you see that?
No. Did I miss that?
I don't know. On my TV, it would be like when they were talking about the Jen Shah thing, there was this thing that came up and it said exclusive interview, get your remote ready. And so I picked up my remote. I'm like, what is this? And it showed Candace, Heather, and Alexia. And as they were talking about Jen Shah, you could click on who you wanted to hear an exclusive interview from. So it felt like they added stuff in later into the episodes. They also did another thing later on, similarly with an extended scene of them sitting at a table. And I'm kind of like, interesting. And I don't know, because typically I hate Netflix when they have those do-it-yourself adventure books. And I never like the books of do it yourself, pick your own adventure, because I'm a Virgo, anxiety. And so I'm like, okay, well, what happened on the other path? And then it's I don't want to read this 3 times just to fucking tell me what the story is. I don't want to fucking make the story up. If I wanted to make a story up, I'd write it. Yeah. But with the girls trip, I don't know. I was kind of into it, and then I'm kind of like, this is a lot of work. Maybe one time an episode, fine, but like the multiple times, it was giving a lot.
I mean, I didn't notice it, but I'm kind of jealous if I don't have it. So now I feel like I got to go back and watch to see if I just wasn't paying attention at all and missed it altogether, which is totally possible.
Yeah, the first one was definitely during the scene where they were talking about Jen Shaw, and like when they had just got there, and when Heather had just got there, and then the second one was when the morning when Giselle was talking about Leah, and Leah walked in on them, and it said, you want to see an extended clip. So go back and check that out. If anyone else saw that, I don't know, maybe it's a Roku thing too. It could be Roku.
Because I'm using Apple TV, so.
But I doubt it. I would assume it's a Peacock thing, to be honest, because I also thought it was interesting. I forget which girl was in the confessional, and she was like, shout out to Bravo. And they were like, girl, it's Peacock. And I thought that was an interesting.
I thought it was funny as hell because that means she did that junk multiple times.
Right.
They were together, says get it together.
That part too. All right. So initially, I just have to say what really made me happy with this was seeing Porsha. It felt good seeing Porsha on my TV screen on a Real Housewives. I think in the past I've said like, I don't know if I want to see Porsha on Real Housewives of Atlanta. But I loved seeing her on this. It was so refreshing. It was such a good vibe for her. I feel like I looked at her differently in another way, which also Giselle, we'll get to that in a second. But what was your take for seeing Porsha and having her back?
I 100% agree. I was excited to see her back. Also because my last impression of Porsha was her like series with her family and getting the wedding together and all of that. Mm-hmm. And I actually thought it was a horrible representation of her. I thought she came off bratty, awful, not a good person. Like that series, I personally thought was not good for her at all.
Yeah, I didn't watch that at all.
Yeah, the reason we loved her is because there's a lightness to her, and I mean, kind of a like dingy, dumb blonde kind of thing about her that's funny and cute and playful and whatever, and it works with the women to me. But yeah, her own series, I was not feeling good about her at all. And I was like, oh, Porsha, why did you do this? This makes you look terrible. And then to see her back in this element where she fits perfectly and it's good drama, but funny and light and good, I was here for it. Very happy.
We also got the Mormon cousins, Whitney and Heather.
Well, they a mess. They are a mess.
First of all, not only are they a mess, but like... Now, remember last season, because I think the thing is I got excited to tell a friend of mine to watch the show, but then I was like, you didn't even watch Salt Lake. So, like, you have to really watch Salt Lake to even, like, care that they're on this season. Because 100%. They're not interesting. Heather is not an interesting person at all. She is interesting because of Salt Lake. Why she's a little bit interesting this season is because the hot messery of her being a fangirl is like low-key weird to me. Like I
think it's great with Swarm being on right now. Like the thing.
Oh, Swarm, yeah.
I feel like this is the most interesting Heather can be because she's not in the Salt Lake environment. So that was actually fascinating to me. Sorry, y'all. Is going crazy right now.
It was definitely fascinating, but like certain scenes were cringe. Like the ending of episode 3 where she's in bed reading Portia's book. I'm like, girl, what is happening? Like I don't know. It just was like weird. And then also Whitney snooze fest. Other than the argument of them in Salt Lake, literally episode 2, I forgot Whitney was there. And then the start of episode 3, they show Whitney talking. I was like, oh shit. Like, she low-key made me a little nervous. I was scared. I forgot about you, girl.
Whitney, I think it's her voice that like drives me insane.
Yeah, her voice. It's just like it's really
hard for me. But I do think she's great to look at. She looks good in a bikini. So I'm always kind of here for. I want a pretty girl with some cute outfits. So for that reason, I'm okay with her. But when she starts talking with that voice, I I'll be having the tune out.
Yeah, Whitney is that like girl. Just be cute and be silent and be cute. Like because
As soon as she talks, it's just like, Heather, you weren't there for me, and I was just upset.
we got Leah from NYC, and I loved Leah. I liked Leah. I've always liked Leah. This episode, though, this season.
Always like Leah, even on her last season on The Housewives.
Well, yeah, because it was the last season was where it was like her arguing with like Sonia a lot and Ramona.
Yeah, I mean, it was her like crazy with Ebony was on there, and like they were all insane.
Yeah, but it was pretty much her and Ebony were friends, and then everyone else. Did she have beef with Ebony?
Probably. I mean, she didn't have beef with Ebony. I don't believe they ever got to any beef for real, but you know, they weren't friends for real. And she also was in her own dramatics, and she's the one that was getting the pass when Ebony was not.
True that. What I do remember is not liking like when she would go meet with like her dad at the gym, and it's like, what in the Creed is happening? Like, what in the Rocky? Like, why are we here?
I don't like that. Why do you do that?
I don't know. I just think I don't know. I just felt like it felt like I don't know. Like I was watching a movie. I don't know. It just didn't give me reality for some reason. I don't know what that experience is within myself. It's just how I felt. So yeah, we got Leah, which took a turn because I thought she was going to be likable to most of the girls, but you know, also interesting that she is in this sober place in her life. What I was more confused about was Candace and Giselle on FaceTime acting like they were just best friends. Like, I don't understand because they've never liked each other. So like them being like, "I'll go," but I will say this, you guys. Everything I've said about Giselle in Potomac, not erased, but
I was like, whoa.
No. She proved to me with this show why she is a part of the Housewives, because this season of Girls Trip would be something totally different if it was not for Giselle. So I say like, all right, Giselle definitely like put in the work for this trip. And I feel like I got to see her personality
a little more for sure.
Yeah, differently than how it was on how it is on Potomac. I feel like there's an awkward reservedness with her on Potomac, where here it felt like she was a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
We also got Alexia and Marisol, who I will just say throughout these 3 episodes have proven that Miami is just a different type of series than all the other Housewives, because you know, even watching the reunion of part 3, they all just at the end of everything try to come together. And not only that, but seeing the 2 girls, like everyone kind of had another person from their season. And the Miami girls were like, oh, bitch, we clinked in. Like, we are clinked in. And I love that. I think I loved it. I thought that was cute. Which I can see why maybe Giselle and Candace were like, all right, girl, like, let's just go in on this together. Like,
and it makes sense because later Candace talks about her discomfort with being with people that she doesn't know. Mm-hmm. So she and Giselle aren't the best. She knows Giselle. So, like, that's sort of a comfort for her.
True that. All right. Now, this was filmed 2 days after Jen Shah pled guilty, which,
honey,
all that is even more of like juice, because obviously we saw with Salt Lake the extended clip of like, you know, Heather and what's her name going to New York for Jen. So to see this and kind of get in the mind space of where Heather was at was cool. And again, Giselle, shout out to Giselle for, you know, jumping right in and wanting the tea. We needed it.
We needed it, and she gave no Fs. She was like, this is what we here for, y'all. Let's talk. Say it. Say it, say it, say it.
So the place they're staying at is gorgeous. And
oh my God. we find out the name. I want to hang out with Pepsi. I want to
Okay,
see,
wait.
I need that.
I lost because when he first introduced himself, he introduced himself as Ty.
I missed that, honey.
And he talked about how he speaks Tinglish and he learned English through watching movies like Star Wars. And then all of a sudden the name translated to Pepsi. Everyone's just calling him Pepsi. And I'm like, okay, I love that. But at first I was like, when they were saying Pepsi, I'm like, is Pepsi sponsoring this? Like, what's happening?
I'm so confused.
But yeah, so we get to that point where Giselle was talking about Jen Shah and Heather. And then if you guys go back, or if you saw it, I don't know if you saw it, that's where Peacock had these exclusive interviews. And basically Candace was bold in her little exclusive one. She said, Jen and Stewie, they knew what they were doing and they knew they was wrong. Another part was Giselle telling Alexia and Marisol not to speak Spanish. What was your take on that? How did you feel about that? Because
as soon as she said it, it's so not okay to say the way she said it. Because what she was actually communicating is that I know when you talking shit about me, even if I don't understand what you're saying. So you can't tell women that speak Spanish to each other, like that's a part of their normal like language communication. Like it's rude and kind of disrespectful to say like you can't speak Spanish. And I know a lot of people were coming for Giselle, like that's so like American speaks English, like talking to people. And I don't think that Giselle meant it derogatorily, which we find out later. What her real issue is, which I do actually believe she's being honest about what her real issue is.
1,000,000%, because I've always talked about how I think her kids be shading the fuck
out of her, and can't nobody make you feel bad like your own teenage daughter. But specifically with Marisol and Alexia, I thought it was interesting that the edit definitely was them talking shit about her being a pot stirrer in Spanish when she's also asking them not to. And I'm like, that's the point. Like you can tell, just like, you go to the nail shop. I don't speak Vietnamese or whatever other Asian language is being spoken in the shop, but you could tell when they talking shit about you and not just talking to each other.
Right.
So I feel like that's where that energy came from more so. But the way Giselle just like blurted it out, you can't tell grown ass women who clearly are bilingual and use Spanish and English consistently amongst each other to stop being themselves.
And that's my thing is like, I think watching the Miami season, we just know that that's how they are, whether they are talking shit or not. It's just kind of a fluidity to them.
Yeah, that's just how they speak. And in the end, what would have been cool, it was like, oh, what you say? What did you just say?
Right.
And they lie about it, clearly, because you won't necessarily know. But like, if you feel in a way about something that they're saying in Spanish, ask about it. And then we'll know in the...
Or girl, look, Giselle, all you need, I did this too. You get Google Translate and you just hit that little speaker and you just hold it up and it'll translate, because I be doing it in the barbershop because I know my barber, he only speak Spanish, and sometimes I be wondering what he be saying. I'm like, well, let me just hit that and read.
It can be rude in a group situation, like when everybody is speaking one language, to like then have a side conversation in a different language when you know the other people are understanding. To a level that can be rude, but to tell somebody they cannot speak their own damn language is just not.
Doing the most, girl. All right, so Heather Graham and Whitney Houston. I gotta say,
are a good duo, and I wasn't expecting that.
Giselle and who?
Giselle and Porsha together are a good duo, and I just wasn't expecting that.
It makes sense, though, actually. I was more confused as to why people thought Porsha and Candace were going to hate each other. I feel like...
Really? I wasn't confused about that.
Really? I feel like just the thought of that put Candace in a place of like making it go bad. I don't know. I didn't see that at first. I thought they're both cute. They're both of the same age bracket, and both have a man, like both like to have fun. I don't know. I definitely do think I'm seeing a different Porsha. I feel like Porsha has grown up in ways a little bit. I don't know. But so we get Heather Graham and Whitney Houston, and I just got to say the way Giselle grilled the entire season, it was just hilarious. Heather wants to be friends with Porsha because she has 7 million followers, and then asked Leah how she was going to stay sober. All right. What's your take with this whole, because Marisol had made a sober comment to Leah as well.
Yes. She texted her about it, right?
Yeah, it was a text before the show, and she was like, "Oh, girl, I know you're sober. So proud of you. I wish you could have a drink with me." Like, nothing. I don't know. And maybe I'm crazy. Like, I don't know. I just feel like if I was somebody who doesn't drink, I would never expect anyone around me not to drink, and I would never really take it a certain way if someone is like putting I don't know. I have control, I guess. I think
that's my point. I'm like, the issue is not that she just doesn't drink. The issue is that she had an addiction problem. And obviously her book, which we find out that Heather read and then still said, "Let me get you drunk." Like, she had a legit problem with alcohol, and drugs. And so you don't go to an addict ever and be like, that's just not kind.
Well, okay, which is why I excuse it from Marisol. And obviously I don't think we should excuse it from anyone, but I do excuse it a little from Marisol just because it's like she has a problem that she hasn't accepted yet. Where Heather, it's kind of like, I don't know. Heather, for me, I just had put her on a pedestal during the first season, and I think that pedestal has just tumbled.
What's interesting about Heather, I feel like she became, and a lot of people are like, oh, she got her head blown up because she was on the show, and I actually feel like it's the opposite. I feel like she became way more self-conscious and uncomfortable being on the show. So she felt like she needed to, because she hit so hard that first season and people were like, "Oh, Heather's dope," it almost froze her, like, "Oh, well, I don't know how to do."
Oh, really? This. I don't see that at all. I'm total opposite of that.
All of this weird, "Oh, I can't remember. Oh, I'm awkward." She's really awkward in social situations about stuff that like the whole thing with Leah was just weird and awkward. Like, girl, why? What?
Because she wants to be liked. That's my thing. Exactly. Is
my point is that she lost the ability to she was so just whatever she was that first season, but then people were so into it. It's almost like feeling like you have to live up to something continually. And then she starts questioning herself. So she's not being herself. She's in a consistent rotation of, how do I make sure that people are still liking what they see and what's going on and what I'm doing and all of that. So she's overthinking being her damn self because she's insecure now. Right. And it's weird. It's not cool.
Yeah. It's just, again, she just has gone down the drain for me.
Oh, you know what went down the drain or need to go down the drain is her confessional look. Because, girl, what was that? Can we talk about that? Can somebody explain it to me?
It was giving Disney on Ice. It
was a fan. It was watercolored. It was a belt and not good. Not good.
Not at all. Again, anyone who's watching on TikTok, you're not going to be able to hear the full show, but I'm just on here so y'all know we live on YouTube. So you only going to be able to hear me because I don't know how to plug it into that. So sorry. But you're missing all Courtney's takes.
That means I'm streaming on TikTok because y'all know I don't know nothing about TikTok.
Actually, I think I can stream you on TikTok. We'll figure that out for next week. All right. So Giselle's messy impression game. She made Heather her worst impression. Everyone basically jumped on the bandwagon of making Heather the worst impression. And I think Heather to herself made it sound like, well, this is just what the housewives do. It's like, no, girl. I think people thought you were going to be really dope and you come across thirsty.
Thirsty and weird.
Thirsty and weird.
Yeah.
And again, I don't remember hearing the 7 million follower thing until they showed us the rollback of the clip. Yeah. Which is just weird. Why would you run around talking about you have 7 million followers? What?
Can we, because, okay, at first I was like, well, she's a businesswoman. Like, it kind of makes sense. Like, she wants to keep building her brands, whatever, the way that, Porsha was able to pull off. Also, I was shocked. I didn't realize Porsha had 7 million followers because I don't, whatever. And she is drastically higher than every other girl in the show. But also, I was confused because we talk about Heather at one point, or she has a breakdown. I don't know if it's in this episode. I don't remember. But talking about how she had nothing and like came into the show and didn't know where her life was going. I was like, but I thought Heather, like, that was the whole point. You already had like a beauty bar and you were doing the thing and taking care of your kids. Like, who Heather is and whatever she's going through, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's showing even more now than it did before.
Yeah, it's giving, you might be a fraud too. See you next season.
Maybe that's why you were good with
Which
Jen.
I can't wait for Salt Lake next season to see
Mary.
Mary's back again. All right, then what else did we get? We got I did like that Leah hugged Heather afterwards about the sobriety talk, because again, as much as I love the shade on these shows, I do want them, I think the purpose of them is when they talk about how it's a sisterhood and all that stuff. I think that I do like the fact that they make up, and that's something with Bad Girls Club I used to feel the same way. It's like, look, if you're gonna fight, give us the show, okay, but then we need an arc, we need a story arc. I don't want just like, end of the world. Like, I want a fight, and then I want you to make up and have great conversation as to why you did the thing you did. Okay, we realize why we did that. We've made up from it. Moving on. Heather wants to earn the girls back. Of course you do, girl. And so that's why you probably ran out and bought all their books so you can read them every night. And then Leah talks about her grandma dying, and Whitney had made a comment that she didn't believe Leah when she said that production wouldn't let her leave. Which is interesting. Knowing production, working in production, I will say there are times where if a story is, if you're in the juice of a story, they will try to keep you there, but they will not force you to stay. If it is something, I mean, we literally let a guy go because he got a tooth pulled, like, and he had an appointment, and like, we just let him go for that. Like, so I don't know, I kind of am with Whitney on that. And I think Leah, it's just like, own it, girl. You were in a crazy time in your life, so don't go blaming others. Say, hey, I take responsibility, I was crazy, carry on.
Yeah, and I think Giselle or Candace that said, like, you a grown-ass woman. Can't nobody force you to do anything.
Yeah, if Giselle said that.
So the opportunity cost, maybe you end up not being in as many episodes as you thought you were going to be in, so you lose some money, and they were like, yo, if you leave, you're not getting paid for such and such or whatever, but that was still your decision not to leave. They're not shackling you. You're not a slave. So,
right. Which is true. You will get docked for certain things.
100%. You probably was. So what you didn't want was the penalty that was going to come with you leaving. But to say you were not able to leave when you are an able-bodied grown-ass woman is bullshit.
And honestly, on a show like this, they probably even offered, like, we'll come with you and we'll shoot it. And she probably didn't want that. And so they're like, all right, well, that's fine, but you will get docked on pay or whatever the case is. Then we get to Ladyboy Night, and we get the names, and my favorite names of the night were
You Need a Man,
Petty LaBelle.
Petty.
And as much as I did, that She Need a Man, honestly, you shouldn't have called her that. You should have called her Anita Stylist, because that was iconic, and you really went with the man. Like, it just was like, you forced that one. Anita Stylist is incredible, and I know you didn't think of that one on your own. I know some gay boy gave you that idea. Ain't no way, Candace.
Took it, girl. Should have took it.
That should have been the one. And then you wouldn't have had She Nita and She Take a pinpointing against you, because then she called Porsha Should Take a Man. And this is where it all went downhill. You could have had Porsha on your side, but you came for the jugular with her. And you gave all the other girls a nice name, or a thoughtful name.
Crystal Ball was cute. What was Alexia?
Judyism, which is low key. I was like,
that one was a little kind of flat for me. It's like, okay, cool. Snow White and Snow Wrong or whatever.
Snow White and Snow Wrong. Yeah, I'm like, snooze fest. Yeah. Then we get Leah once again talking about penises, which she does have, which we have seen she likes talking about sex. Like, and I did like her honesty of like, okay, this is cool. I can be around girls. Because Ramona and the other girls used to like chastise her for it.
For sure. All the time. They were like, oh my God, don't talk about penis. But also, that's they are in their age bracket where it wasn't considered ladylike in a way that it is like amongst me and my friends. And I'm of Leah's age group. So, we talk about the penis all the time.
And then this is where Leah went off for me. She talked about the micro penis stuff. And, it's like, I feel like she's the type of girl that like says something, and when she gets a reaction from it, she just keeps going with it. And it was 100%. Like she made the comment about the micro penis, and everyone was like, so like, oh, what is that? And she was like, yeah, like I would never talk to a guy if I think that. Like I think it should be on a dating app. Like, girl, what is this, Grindr? Like, you want it to be on a dating app? Like, literally. Now, okay, my question to you is, do you think men should have to put their dick size on a dating app? Is that something that girls want? I mean, I think that is...
Oh, my God.
If you guys are watching this, put it in the comments. Do you think men should have to put dick size on dating apps? Is that information that you feel like you need to know beforehand?
Look, I think, first of all, I was actually a little bit surprised that everybody's reaction, and maybe we didn't get a full view of everybody's reaction, but everybody's reaction that I saw was all like, what's a micro penis? Oh my God, what's happening?
I believe a few years ago I showed you that, or a blue waffle.
Oh. No, that's what I'm saying. You were doing the blue waffleness, and I was like, really, Jesse? Really? But what I'm saying is I was surprised, because micro penis is very clearly a thing. And what's funny to me,
I want to say it was you, me, and Isabel, and we all looked it up at the same time.
The blue waffle. Oh, man.
No, the micro penis. Because we knew what it was, but I feel like one of you guys were like, I've never seen what it looks like.
Well, no, we were talking about, okay, I don't know if this is, we were talking about, that ain't for this show. We'll talk about that later. But in terms of heterosexual women that like men, obviously because they're heterosexual, and her comment, I was surprised that everybody's like acting all like shocked about micro penisness, because I think she's using the word micro penis also maybe a little out of context, and she's just talking about small penises in general in her brain, which that's for her is probably, maybe under 4. And I feel like as a person in the dating pool, even though I'm trying to be a grown-up about things and understand that there are things that are not within people's controls, and that there are people out there in the world that believe like you fall in love, it doesn't matter, size doesn't matter. There are people that it does matter to. And so I can understand her frustration and bringing up the idea of men needing to advertise whatever that is on a dating app. So whereas as a grown-up, I would be like, that's not a good idea. It's not very nice. As a woman in the dating world, I get it.
Okay, but here's my thing. I have someone who has, like, I've reacted to one before. Like, it was actually the first time I ever had a one-night stand. Well, I didn't have the one-night stand because I went in the kitchen, came out, and he was like butt naked, and it was like, I can't explain what it looked like. It like low-key looked like not Predator, Alien. Like, I can't explain it. And he was just like, suck it, puppy. And I was like, oh, I need to go. Like, and it was just like tiny, but it was like also like the tip was attached to like the ball. So it was like curved. It was just a lot happening. And so, and my initial reaction was just like horrified and like, I got to get out of here. But I think then as you get older, it's like, okay, yes, size is a thing, right?
Yes.
But then I also think attractiveness is a thing, not in the person, but in the dick. I've seen some big dicks that are ugly. Like, I can't, like, they got blockheads. They got.
Well, I feel like also, I mean.
So I just feel like at what point it's like just send the dick pic at that point, like on the profile.
Well, I agree. Maybe that's the resolve, is that a solicited penis portrait after interaction is how you make that gauge.
Like there are some guys who just like they don't have any disease, but they just got bumps, and it's like I can't get that out of my head, like that your skin just does that. So like you on your own for that. Oh, it's that look, and it usually happens with uncut stuff, but like. And also like smells, cleanliness, like it just once you start with one, it's like it just goes down a rabbit hole of like just send a picture.
No, or don't look. Everybody's fragrance matches who it matches. In the end, we my suggestion to you is that maybe after the first date, if you are really liking the guy, go ahead and ask for that penis portrait. And if it is in line with what you're looking for, then you proceed. Because I understand not wanting to get like emotionally involved with somebody and attached to them. Like, ooh, I really like him. And then getting to that place where you're ready to have sex.
Right.
And then you get like,
No.
So,
yeah.
I get it.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
I get it.
All right, moving on from the dick talk. So where was this? So then we get to Marisol, and she's been talking. Wait. So no, Leah with the micro penis, and then she says she's bored of Alexia's story about her gay husband, and then shades Marisol for drinking every morning.
Yeah.
You don't like that the girls said this about you not drinking. Why would you shade Marisol? We know Marisol is clearly liquored up at all times. An alcoholic. Like, I mean, let's just say what it is. And
she's functioning though.
I also think the thing with Alexia is just because you watched her season and you know the story, and then you asked her about it, you chose to ask her about it in the car ride. All the girls weren't privy to that information, and they all were interested. You making the comment about, I'm bored, and then telling the girls to drink, it gives, like, you feel like you're better than. Like, girls, just get drunk. Exactly like what Giselle said.
It literally gives childish.
Yeah.
She's behaving like a child, and that makes her unlikable. You're an adult. You don't have to be interested in this conversation. Clearly, other people are. Tune it out, eat your food, have a soda, and tune back in when you give a fuck.
Exactly. And I'm a great tuner, bitch. I will tune. My
like,
homegirls be
conversation, like whatever. But like, girl, be an adult. Mm-hmm. You don't say, "Oh my god, I'm so bored." You guys need to drink. This is not fun.
Like, girl, you're not fun because you're not drinking. Oh, but if we said that, now that's an issue.
Feelings, exactly. So keep
it moving, girl.
Leah.
Then we got the Candace and Porsha. Did you take your man from Fallon? Porsha, I do respect that Porsha didn't like get angry, and I think in that moment realized like, look, I know that this is out, and so I'm gonna say it here. I'm gonna say it one time, and we're gonna keep it pushing. And she said what it was, and hey, I mean, I don't know.
Tell your version, girl.
Tell your version. Because, baby, not you said, I sent him an email. Like, girl, first of all, I never see Porsha sending out no damn email. Like, girl, like, you probably text him and was like, send me a screenshot.
It was a DM.
No, she said, he DM'd her and said, she said, when you're in Atlanta, hit me up. And he said, okay. And then when she found out that she was questioning if they were still together, she said, I sent him an email. Ma'am, you should have stuck with the texting, because I don't picture you opening up a laptop and being like, hello, send me your divorce papers.
And you just knew his email?
Right. Like, that part too. All right. And then we got the Ladyboy Candace performance, which shout out to Candace. You know what I mean? The track stopped and she kept going. Hated that outfit. It was, you don't ever tell anyone Anita stylist, baby, because you need one, because you was given loofah. It was giving
sparkly loofah.
It was giving Target in the travel section.
Yes.
Pick one up.
Shout out to the lady boy that took a tumble and kept it moving.
Okay. And then Marisol's stomach is hurting. It's like, girl, because you're a drunk. Your stomach is hurting because like, and she's like, the guy's like, did you drink today? She's like, no, but it's not that. I drink every morning, every afternoon, every night. Well, girl, then there's an issue here. This is probably at one point, it's going to all lead up to something.
Maybe you finally got an ulcer because you also don't eat.
That part much. Too.
So maybe there's just too much acidic items floating around in your stomach, especially if your drink of choice is a screwdriver. That's a whole lot of orange juice all the time, girl.
And the acidity, like,
That's a lot. I can't even do a mimosa no more because I would just be like, the orange juice is just too much.
It's too much. I did think it was honest of when Porsha was kind of a little irritated with Candace. I did think it was honest to Giselle to say that Candace isn't mean. She's not a mean initiator. She's a responder. And so she was kind of it was interesting that she took this night in that direction. The next morning, though, we saw Leah. I'm like, girl, why are you acting like you're hung over from a Red Bull and a cigarette? Like, interesting. And then we saw Whitney and Giselle talking about Leah as she walked in. And then that is where... well, it wasn't that. It was that. There's another one of those Peacock like extended scenes that you guys can watch, or maybe you can't. I don't know. I don't know what's if I'm actually interested to see if that happens when I watch it Peacock on my phone.
I'm gonna check it back, but it's very possible because I was passively watching. I had it on while working, so it's not like my face was tuned to the screen every moment. Okay. So very possible that it was happening and I just missed it.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where, like, if you didn't click it by the time it got to that, it disappeared.
Yeah.
So, and also, if you guys are watching this and you saw that, please just let me know because I'm very interested. Because now I'm gonna have to bring my Roku. Now I'm gonna have to bring my Roku to LA.
It's a conspiracy to make Jesse have to pick adventures on the trip.
Real Housewives, your adventure. So then we got to the yacht, which was, again, beautiful yacht.
Yes, gorgeous. It was a yacht. That was a very nice yacht. Yes.
And it turned into Leah versus Porsha and Giselle, and then Leah versus Marisol. Leah, you're putting yourself in these situations, like, for no reason. I don't know if you're doing it for TV because you feel like, I don't know. I don't get it. I feel like you weren't. I'm just shocked at the people she's going after, I guess, more so. Like I could see her like picking on Heather, or I don't know. I'm just kind of shocked. Nor do I really care, but
yeah, Leah, I feel like she's just being extra dramatic for screen time. Like it doesn't feel authentic to me entirely, and I feel like she also is just one of those people that runs her mouth and says dumb shit, and instead of like immediately retracting, she just kind of is like, well, you're making it a big deal and it's not a big deal. And it's like, well, then you can't say something to people that they don't like and then tell them how to react to it. So it's a big deal to them, girl. You call her a drunk. And I can't even remember what she was fighting with Giselle and them about. Oh, because she wouldn't own up to being rude by saying she was bored. And like, that's just dumb. Just be like, you know what? It was a little childish. Period. I'm sorry, y'all.
Then we got Porsha and Candace. And this is where I said I feel like Porsha, I feel like I'm seeing a grown version of Porsha, because when Candace like kind of came at Porsha, instead of Porsha getting mad, and when Candace started breaking down, Porsha got up to go sit by her. I took that as a genuine moment from Porsha, where Candace took that as, you came over here and got in my face. I'm like, no, because what Porsha said was real. Porsha said, wait, so because you felt uncomfortable, your way of dealing with being uncomfortable is to come for everybody else? And I think that that's a real thing to say to someone, and Candace didn't like that she said that. And girl, that's on you, because what Porsha said is grown. It's true. It's like, babe, I'm going to sit over here because you're crying, but like, you just saying that you feel uncomfortable, so then you started shading everybody. Like, hi, hold the mirror up, look at yourself, and say, you know what, you're right. That was fucked up of me. My bad, girl. End of story. I don't know. That's how I took it. Candace obviously didn't take it that way. She still felt like that Porsha came over there to egg her on. And I think that stems more from the fact of Giselle and now feeling like Porsha and Giselle are a thing.
Again, I watched this on Thursday while I was working because I thought we were doing the show Thursday. So maybe my memory is not serving me properly. Because I don't quite remember that scene going down that way. I remember that they were talking about about Candace not being able to express her discomfort because she was defending Leah for being able to say, well,
Right.
I'm comfortable about this, da, 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 da. And she was saying, and then that's when she talked about her anxiety and like being whatever. And she was on the verge of tears and then she cried. And then I remember Porsha coming over and hugging her and she's kind of like, no, but I just took it as, I don't remember Candace being like, she got up in my face and I wasn't, my energy from that was, don't hug me. I don't know you like that. I'm crying, but like, I'm trying to express myself and like, I need you not to be all up on me like that. Like, I don't need you to hug me.
Which is weird because Candace is the first one to do that. To like come over when someone's crying and like be that person.
Specifically what she was talking about is her discomfort with other people. So whereas I see what you're saying, like, yeah, she's the first person to want to tap somebody and be like on their shoulder and like whatever. That doesn't mean that that's how she receives when she's in a awkward, uncomfortable place in herself.
Right.
Because,
but again, I don't know. I just look at like, girl, be grown. And I took what Porsha was doing right there as an innocent thing. And what she had actually said to her was like it was nice. I felt like what Porsha was trying to do was be nice. And then also kind of say like, girl, I did feel like, so is that why you shaded me? Because I'm confused. Like, I get why you shaded Giselle. But, like, girl, I don't even know you. Like, you gave everyone nice names. And obviously, Porsha's still hung up on that.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, so for me, like, I thought Porsha's hug, obviously, she came over, the girl was crying. I think that's all her intention was. Like, don't cry, girl. We can talk about this. It's okay. Like, you're fine. So I don't think that came from a negative place. But then I feel like bringing up you were trying to shade me, this, that, like that was the point of the game, was to be a little shady and petty. Right. And keep pulling that up like somehow that was like an attack on you when you clearly supposedly don't care, is actually trying to engage further about a problem that doesn't actually have to exist. And I don't necessarily think that overall life, Candace was trying to be like, and I can't believe I'm actually kind of defending Candace, but like, I don't think that was her like, let me see how I can F up Porsha. I mean, Giselle was saying, girl, you haven't been shady enough. You weren't petty enough, like with the name game. So it doesn't.
Which is true. Like, because my thing is, if you're going to call yourself Petty LaBelle, then you got to go across the board.
Agreed. But like, also it was just, and then like in that moment, it was like, we're not even really talking about that. I'm talking about how I was uncomfortable and have anxiety about meeting new people and being, across the world from my family. And that's what and then you bring up is that why you should, no, like I shaded you because that was a game that we were supposed to be playing. Like, girl, what are you talking about? Back up.
Right. Then we get Whitney versus Heather. And
the way this went, like,
it just was literally like the Titanic. Like,
I just feel like, the Mormons wouldn't release me. And like, Heather, it just feels like you wrote this book and then like you just are still.
Which, I mean, I'm going to say this. Low key, because I never thought about what Whitney actually said. Whitney's biggest problem with like, yeah, it's just your name on something. But like they can use that name as a way to sway and vote. I don't know, like, or whatever she was saying. Like, she explained it obviously better than I can remember it. But
she's basically saying that if you are keeping your name on that roll, you're supporting all of the political community movements that the organization of the church is doing. And they are constantly buying property. They are running the governments of Utah in a lot of ways because they sit on boards, they are in the Senate, they're whatever. And your name makes it look like there's one more number that they can count behind them.
Right. And yeah, and then you wrote a whole book against it. Like, it's just oh, it's weird. It's off. It's just off, girl.
Is it weird or is it, again, here I go defending Heather. I just, because I wonder, here, this is what I'll say. I think Whitney, just because that's how you are dealing with it, and I can 100% see how it is, you can't expect other people to deal with something so personal.
Right,
the same.
1,000,000%.
And I think that it was a low blow for somebody who knows the challenges of what existing in that Mormon life has been, and to pull yourself out of it, the loss of family because of it, and all of the issues that come along with that. I think that was a very low blow to come at her about that. I mean, you could have a conversation and be like, well, it kind of sucks that, like, don't you think it's a bad idea to keep your name on the book? I know you just think it's a name situation, but this, that, and the other also happens because your name is on that book. But instead you came at it like, you shady, you don't really want to be not Mormon because you won't take your name off the list. And you know that's not true.
Right, that's true.
That's fucked up.
And then it turned into the black eye conversation, which, again, I'm,
Thank you, Giselle.
What did Giselle do?
After, in her confessional.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
She's like, shut up, Whitney. Clearly, fucking Jen punched that girl in the face, and she ain't trying to make it worse for this girl because she don't want that on her spirit. And I agree. I wouldn't want it on my spirit either, even if she punched me in the face. I just hate how they played it out on the show and made it this
thing. And Heather came out to say she has I have two theories. Theory one, stupid. An overhanging cabinet hit my eye while I was brushing my teeth. Go by.
Girl,
Theory
stop.
2, I was roughhousing and didn't feel it.
And got an elbow to the eye. Yo.
But Suntan Barbie figured it out.
Can we just help Heather? Heather, just say.
She passed.
Y'all, it ain't nobody's business. I'm okay. Leave it alone. Don't make it like this mystery that needs to be solved. Like you don't know what happened. Just, it's just stupid.
Shout out to TikTok Pop Culture. Geek says, haven't watched Ultimate Girls Trip 3 yet. Just here to leave Alexia and Marisol hate.
Okay, why you hating Alexia and Marisol? They fun.
I mean, yeah, I think that there is an element, like I said earlier, I think there's an element of why I enjoy seeing the Miami girls on this, because there is a little bit of unity between them. And I like seeing that. It's almost like, even though this isn't a competition show, like mentally it low key is. And so to see that the girl, they bring this lightness to the scenes. So for that reason, I'm into it. But we're going to get into Miami and Miss Alexia. Is it Alexia or Alexis? Do I keep saying it?
Alexia. And
Alexia,
I think.
Why do I keep saying Alexis?
But I will give her a little sugar. Like, okay, girl, because I don't like her after the season of Miami.
Right.
And she is much likable so far to me on Girls Trip.
Isn't it weird? I feel like she actually is less crazy as we see her in Miami. Like there's it's almost like the Giselle thing, like seeing Giselle outside of Potomac. It's like she's looser. I feel like I'm seeing a realer side of Giselle.
You use the word crazy. I use the word cruel. I think that Giselle and Alexia have been cruel in these last seasons of their shows.
Very
and it
true.
was necessary. And it's nice to see that, not because I don't believe that of them as people, even though I've never met them. I don't believe that's them. But these last seasons, it's like, girl, why? Why are you so mean?
Leah goes to Giselle about the board conversation. Okay, so Candace basically talked to Leah about what happened on her season of Potomac, the whole Giselle and Chris thing. And Leah was like, oh, I'm going to use that. Girl, sit down. Like, sit down.
How are you going to talk to me?
Because now you look stupid. Now you look stupid because you just listened to the loaded gun and you took that and ran downstairs. And Giselle never... Now, again, Giselle's never going to hold herself accountable for what she said or did. She just isn't. And we know this. We know this from the reunion. We know this from the show. So I think Candace doing that to Leah is more of like, dang, that's kind of fucked up, Candace. Like, you should have explained the story a little better to Leah before she just ran downstairs acting like fucking George Washington storming the fucking storming the river. But she was like, and you tried to, conversation about luring Chris into a room. Like, that never happened. It didn't happen like that. Did Giselle do something stupid, say something stupid? Yes. But it wasn't that. And you don't know the story, and you just ran with it like you did. Again, not looking good for you, Leah. And then we finished the episode with, again, fangirl Heather reading Portia's book and rapping Mariah Lynn's Once Upon a Time Not Long Ago I Was a Hoe. And it just adds to the fangirlism. And I don't know whether to love it or hate it. I think truly I could do without Heather on a Housewives thing and just let's create. She should do like she should do the chat show, the after show where she can talk about it, because it's just like, are you're into the stalker fangirl. Okay.
She's not in her full mind. I don't want to hear her talk about it. I want her to be a mess, confused, discombobulated, lying, just making up weird stuff, like just being ridiculous and uncomfortable for no reason. I love it. Let's keep her.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on over to Shots and Shade of Real Housewives of New Jersey. And we're going to blast through this one because honestly, Jersey is not giving me what I need it to give me.
It's not coming on very strong right now.
No, but there were a few moments that I thought, honestly, Aydin, she, for me, carried the episode. And really, it was the last scene of her and Bill drunk. Talking about love is love, baby. I died. And Bill on the fucking ground climbing towards her. Like, I'm like, see, this is just be that. Just be that, you guys. And that's why she got broken ankles and things every week.
Yes. I want to have a good time, child.
So another thing about at this point, I've accepted Aydin as the like evil villain that we love. And we see the scene where Teresa and Jen go looking for bridesmaids' gifts. And Teresa, the whole conversation was about Joe and Melissa and how they didn't invite Teresa to stay at the girl. Would you have gone if Joe and Melissa invited you to stay with them? No.
You would have said no.
Right. And so, and then I just thought it was so funny how Jen took that whole conversation just to turn it into how Margaret
they're fighting with Margaret and she must have something on them. She knows their dirty secrets. What are you talking about? What are we talking about?
We get it. You don't like Margaret. We understand you do not like her. And so I don't need you to turn everything isn't about you. It's not. I know you think it is. So
all this ammunition that Margaret has.
Oh, the ammunition. Then we get to the Jersey Shore. Now, we always know every time they go to the Jersey Shore, it's a mess. It's always a mess. It's fun for us. It's fun for us, but it's a mess. Also, this is what I'm saying about these shows, too, that make me think, like, how much of this are they all really playing a part of it? Because last week, Joe wanted to kill Louis. And this episode, Louis went to Joe and was like, hey, can you make me an espresso martini? And they're in the kitchen laughing. They got the wax kit for Danielle's husband, which is funny.
I love their little... I like the men of Jersey. They usually have cute little fun times and pranks together.
Agreed. The men of Jersey are everything. Margaret brought up her Arsenal commentary and the disheveled drug addict. Like, you know.
And I also want Margaret to drop it.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, again, and I think I've said this many times with Margaret, I think higher of Margaret. And that's why it kind of like it irks me a little more, because it's like, girl, we know Jen's crazy. Going back to eggshell, we are very much aware. We don't think girl. I thought you was choosing.
You had a child. I mean, that's the one thing I do like about her friend, whose name I will never remember. The new girl, one of the new women that pulled her aside last week, and she was like, "I care about you, girl." Because Margaret's like, "Well, didn't you hear what she said about me?"
Her name's Jen too.
Jen. Okay. So she's like, yeah, I heard it, but I care about you and you're better than this. And you need to not be going down to her level like that. I was like, thank you.
Oh, you're talking about the Sims girl.
The Jewish woman that's her good friend.
The one that they had the party at, the house party, and she kicked the her out, Aydin out.
Well, she kicked Jen out, and
Okay,
then
that's Jen. I thought you were talking about Nose Job Girl.
No, not Nose Job Girl. Is her
Right.
name Jen? How many Jens are there?
No, there are two Jens. There's Jen Aydin, and then there's that new Jen, the Martha Stewart Jen that had the plastic forks at the thing.
I think we should call her Martha Stewart because I'm not gonna remember.
We'll call her Jen Stewart and Aydin. Okay, then we get this whole. I wasn't ready for Frankie's girlfriend to pop up next to Dolores like that. I wasn't prepared. And you know what I mean? And this is the story of Dolores' life. Why she loves Frankie, but it's like, y'all stop telling me to get with this man. He's clearly happy. He's got his little
You got a whole hoe up in here. Not a hoe. I'm sorry. They've been girlfriend, boyfriend for a minute, so she ain't a hoe. But like, what? And y'all want me to worry about his feelings? He got a whole woman. That's
like
very-
when he was like, I wanted Paulie to come out here, and get along. She's like, Paulie's dating me, not you. Like, you already took my last man, one. And then for the girl, the girlfriend to pop up, like,
Yeah, we totally wanted you guys.
Yeah, we want my house, bitch. Shut up.
right. And then it ended up with drunk Jen and Bill dancing. Love is love, baby. All right, so let's get into Real Housewives of Miami.
Wait, before we leave Jersey, you're not gonna even leave with the final like explosion.
What was the final explosion?
Danielle being so upset that people talking about her, and they always questioning her and her brother. So she storms out, and then Teresa and everybody has to lead a party.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything about that because they started the episode with it, and I again think that Danielle in this storyline it's like we already are dealing with Melissa and Joe. We're not creating it again. I still don't even understand what the issue is.
He blocked her on Instagram.
No. I don't understand what the issue is. I understand what she's saying is the issue, but I don't understand what the issue is.
Well, that's what the lady said too, and that's why she mad. How dare they question her character with her brother?
Okay. All right. And then also a little side note, you sent me something where it was like a clip of like Louis saying to Joe like that he wears the grandfather's pajamas or something. Was that you that sent me that?
Yes. Yes, that was early in the week. I don't remember, but it was crazy. And I was like, what? Because he was like trying to say that he was better for the girls and keeping them comfortable and wore the grandpa's pajamas so they could keep like close to him. I don't know, but it was crazy.
It's giving stalker. All right, Real Housewives of Miami, the last reunion. Basically, Lisa comes out to say that the parties were truly the stem of the fights. It was all the girls basically said it was like speed dating for Lenny. And I thought that the saddest part of this was Lisa, and this is the whole thing I think we talked about last week or the week before about, getting plastic surgery and like how even when you think you're doing that to better yourself, it's really within you. You know what I'm saying? You either have that confidence or you don't. And sometimes doing a little touch up and things like that can help with your confidence, but it's not the answer, right? All the time. And I think this was a perfect example of that, where Lisa blamed the filler in her face as to why her man was leaving her. And it's like, girl, no.
That broke my whole heart.
Yeah. And then Bravo fucking going back and showing pictures of it. Like,
but I loved them for that. I loved them for that because it's not wrong. She was looking crazy.
No,
but that had nothing to do with her disgusting Lenny's behavior.
1,000,000%.
And it broke. And she's so petite and little. You just want to hug her. And she turned around. And I love that every woman in there was like, oh, hell no. Even Andy was like, girl, no. Don't even start to go down that road.
1,000,000%.
Like,
and that's just a thing too, girls out there, because I do know girls who do get filler. And it's like, once you do it, you have to keep up with it, because when it starts moving, your face looks different. And then you start going through this thing of, who am I? I'm fat. I'm this, because you're looking at your face getting thicker in different places. And then you have to keep continuously going back and getting it done. Like, and that just, and hearing her say that, it just really, it broke my heart for her.
Interesting juxtaposition too, because later we hear talk about Marisol's mom and how she essentially did the same thing and consistently kept doing it, and it just made her borderline deformed, and the concerns of how people's reaction to it. But also to have watched Marisol's mom, even though she got so much shade about how she looks online, whatever, if it harmed her in any way on camera, you would never know it, because she was in her own person and in her own confidence. It's like, I did this to my face and it is what it is, and I'm still going to be who I am.
Right. And I mean, you got to own it, and at that point. But shout out to Blac Chyna for being bold and taking it all out of her face and explaining that process. Where I think on the flip side, just a side note, Bethany Frankel's getting a lot of hate on TikTok right now because, you know, she would do this whole thing where she would go buy makeup products, test them out, skin products, and show like her raw face. And like 7 months ago, her raw face was given like, I liked it. I think it's dope when someone can go online and say, look, I got wrinkles, I got saggy facial skin. And I liked that she was testing every product out and being honest about what works, what didn't. I liked it. I really did. I thought a woman of her age who was honest about that, and always honest that she got work done in the past. And then she's getting dragged right now because she clearly got something done to her face. Like, it's very, and I think it's that Morpheus 8 thing where it's like a laser. It's a laser that they do on your face. It takes like weeks to heal from it, but like it takes any sun damage off of your face. Like, I mean, you just got a glow. They're also saying that she might have gotten threads pulled in her face, which, hey, whatever. She does not deny it. She doesn't deny that she had work done. She said, she went on a live the other day, and again, this is why I can respect it. She's like, it's none of your business. I got work done. I did. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm telling you, I got work done. She said, I'm not going to tell you what I got done because I learned from a friend. Once you say you got one thing done, everyone's going to start thinking, oh, well, you got this done. That means you got this done. And she said, so I'm not going to feed that rabbit hole. She said, but I will be honest. I did get work done on myself. And I can appreciate that because, girl, you was coming at the Kardashians who do say they've never gotten anything done. You know, like you say, you give it to Larsa. Like, it's like, girl, just say you got something done. You don't have to say what it is. Just say, yes, I have seen a plastic surgeon before. You don't have to tell us you got an ass job. You don't have to tell us you got a face. Just say, yes, I have had work done. End of story.
We clearly can see it.
Right.
We are not blind.
But speaking of Larsa, shout out to Larsa for being a good friend to Lisa. And when it came to that whole restraining order thing. You said what?
Love how she held her down. Yes.
She was like, no, bitch, we going to those restaurants.
You're not doing this. You're not going to mess up my social life. I feel that so hard because of me being in that same situation with you or Isabel or whatever. And they like, oh, we can't go to where we go to. Like, I would be like, oh no, we got to figure this out.
Because I can imagine which friends, and this is really where you see who your friends are because Lenny does have money. So you see your fake friends who are like, well, I still want to get invited to his parties wherever he's going to have them. Like, bye. Then we got Alexia speaking on Anthony and Todd, and they haven't made up, but then they saw him again, and she called Anthony Antonia, which I just thought was funny.
I take such issue with that.
Why?
I just be like, the same way that you don't want the men coming at the women, I just think it has to go both ways. And I think, again, it's unnecessary, and it's an unnecessarily low blow to try to call out his manhood. Like, you can say you an asshole for what you said. You don't need to be talking about, you don't need to call out on his manhood like that.
Well, look,
like,
if it was any of the other girls, I would agree. But again, eggshell.
Because if it was done in the opposite direction, you would lose your effing mind. Because you can't, and I'm another person, like, don't dish what you also can't take. And I know she can't take that. So I just think it's shitty and unnecessary.
Then we got the witchcraft talk. Kiki said she was just going through so much, and then it kind of led to Mama Elsa and how Mama Elsa said that Andy doesn't have love in the cards. And, you know, I love that he has hope. I love that he has hope. But, I mean, no, and I just say that because I can imagine his life would get lonely. Like, knowing what I know of how he's gone on dates with guys, it's like not giving like you're really looking for love. Huh?
What do you know?
I mean, he's got like when he travels places, he calls up ahead of time and he makes sure that he has someone available to have dinner with. He may not know who that person is, and you know, and maybe that's a rich form of dating, or I mean, it gives escort vibes, but like, and you know, hey, you love who you love. I've dated one before too, so. But
is it just, do you think it's any kind of like the same way you just said? It's kind of a lonely life to a degree, and so that's.
I know the person. I know someone who was supposed to do it. It was like you were not looking. This was not gonna ever be a thing. It was to appeal to your preference, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but also I think I don't know, and obviously everyone's different. For me, if I had, but I've always said this, and obviously I don't hold it to the flame, but like by the time I get to an age where I'm like, I'm ready for a child and I adopt a child, or I, you know, go through the process of having a child, ain't no man coming in after that. For me personally, ain't no man coming in. Once I have a kid, my life is full to fruition. Like, you ain't coming in here. If we didn't do this together, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally for me, and I just, as a person looking at Andy, I feel like in ways we do have similarities, and I feel like that would be one of them. It would be very hard for him to bring someone in that he, I think, trusted to be around his children.
Agreed. 100%.
And that's how I look at it with me. So if I don't find a man who trying to do the things I'm trying to do, but if I adopt a kid, ain't no one coming around that. Sorry. I'm not even going to be in a mindset to be looking for that. You know? I don't know.
So does that mean, would you ever date Andy?
I don't know. I would have to really see what his personality was like personally. But he is, I think Andy's cute. Andy's cute. Hey, Andy.
I think he's very handsome.
I don't know if he's into guys like me, but
maybe he needs to be.
Based on the preference that I was privy to.
What is the preference? Allegedly,
he loves him a tall chocolate man.
Tall chocolate man. I was gonna say that because of a mutual friend we have, but anyway.
The stories of LA, guys. The stories of LA.
Cute. But I hope if he wants love, I hope he finds it.
Yeah, which obviously he really does want it. You know, he said he's still open to it. Again, personally, for me, now because he's on his second kid, right? He's trying to have a second kid.
Oh, he has two. He has a daughter.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Maybe when they're older and like. For me, if he's gonna be with anyone, I want him to be with who's that? What's that guy's name that they're always doing the?
Anderson Cooper.
I would love that. I just see that. I just see them old and rocking chairs, like telling, "Oh, remember when?" Like I totally see it.
And yeah. I totally feel like Anderson is like the buttoned up one, and Andy's the crazy one, and like that.
Anderson's the top, Andy's the bottom, 100%.
That is not what I said.
Oh well, all right. All right. So Gertie speaking in Qatar as the top 100, as in the top 100 wedding planners of the world. Shout out to her for that. Marisol cries over Adriana saying she didn't feel loved and about what she said about her ex. Now, this is just messy because I think all of this stems from love, and I feel like it's like they keep giving Adriana this excuse of like being single, lonely. It's like that doesn't mean your bitterness should be attacking the ones that you care about. Now, Alexia I get your issue with her because they're too. It's like, you're not putting cayenne pepper and mixing it with paprika. Like, it's just an explosion, and that's what they both give me. But Marisol, obviously I do feel like Marisol's loyalty is to Alexia, but it's like, Adriana, what you did is like low key messed up, and
not even low.
Yeah, it was fucked up. And it was like, you don't take accountability for it. Like, just take accountability. Or it took this long for you to take accountability for it. Julia and Lisa, that's where they said that Adriana isn't dark. She's just broken because she feels alone. Adriana says Marisol is not well. And again, this is the thing. Adriana, you literally say you have this letter that you wrote.
That was so ridiculous.
From Marisol's liver, which is fucking hilarious.
It was funny.
And if you truly did care about this woman's drinking problem, because I do believe she has a drinking problem, and I do question, I hope people aren't enabling her. But sometimes that does happen in friendships. But this isn't the way to go about doing it. And then especially when you give this letter, and then you start crying, saying you want to be friends. I never tried to hurt you, ma'am. You just brought you sat out and wrote an entire letter from her liver. Like, that is a whole deep thought process of like nasty.
I don't think it's nasty. I think it is making light of something that's supposed to be serious.
No. Why I say it's nasty is because I thought the letter was from the ex, because that was what we were talking about.
Well, yeah.
So you're basically, for me, it felt like she was tying in two things. Like, who's this letter going to be from? Is it from the ex? And then all of a sudden you love your liver. Like, and it went instead of, okay, I'm done talking about your ex. Now let's talk about your drinking problem.
It just didn't make any sense. Like, in the end, it just didn't make sense. Like, it makes no sense. None of that made any sense.
It didn't. And then at the end of it, they all, hugged it out, and we got the end of Miami, which about damn time.
Shout out to Kiki, though. She needs to be a full housewife. I want to know what's going on in her house.
Yep.
And shout out to Andy for making sure she had her Whopper before she took stage. And then third shout out to Julia for standing up and recognizing that she over dramatized. Oh, I can't have her in my house because she was talking about suing. I'm so sorry. You're awesome. And they gave each other a hug. I like that. And then Julia said, you want to go? And she was like, bitch, I don't want to go. I just want to come to the house and have a party.
Literally. And the whole goat thing, like, because I don't know, did you watch Real Housewives of Dubai with the goat thing? Yes. Yeah, like, what is the goat thing?
Well, it's good luck. And
no,
it was a pet.
You ask a person before you bring a fucking goat to their house.
I mean, you don't think she asked her, like, girl, I'm about to get you a pet goat?
In Dubai? Absolutely not. No, I really believe that because what I'm on, she's fucking crazy. I believe that she brought the fucking goat and was like, the kids saw it and we're like, okay, now we have to have a fucking goat. Like,
yes, we have a goat. And it didn't look like their yard could accommodate a goat, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If someone brought me a goat, I would keep the goat personally for me.
I'm excited. Not really. If I lived on like enough land, I'd be excited. Because goats are small.
No, they are. But like, if I had Rex, absolutely not. But like, now I don't have Rex. I would probably take the goat if a goat was just brought to me. I would take probably any animal that was just.
Take one of Julia's goats if she was like, "Oh, my goat needs a house while I'm in LA," and like, would you let her goat stay with you?
No, it would have to be my goat. I'm not like babysitting goats. Like, unless you want me to sublet your farm, and I'll stay on the farm, girl. But I'm not like taking.
I mean, if it was Julia's goat, I might babysit the goat.
I don't want to be friends with Julia that bad.
I don't want
to be like babysitting a goat, girl. Like, because then if it breaks something, this ain't my goat. I don't know. I'm like, if you're gonna give me the goat, give me the goat. I'm not babysitting a goat. I'm not babysitting a goat. Unless it's in your property, then and I'm being paid for it, and I'll go do that. But like
you'll go and babysit the goat at their house.
At their house, yeah, absolutely, 100%. I would have fun doing that. Like, oh yeah, girl, what do I gotta do? What do the horses eat? Yeah, like I'd be down for that. But like a goat, like
I don't know if I can feed the goat. The goat would probably starve because I do have PTSD with goats, so I can't feed a goat.
Why?
because one of my childhood stories, when I was 5, we went to a petting zoo farm situation, and I didn't want to go, but they made me go. I literally was 5. We were on the bus, we went, whatever. And the teacher, so like the thing, they were giving all the kids feed and like making them feed the goats. I was like, I don't want to feed the goat. They were like, oh, don't be scared. You don't have to be scared. I was like, I'm not scared. I don't want to feed the goat. It's nasty. And she was like, you're just scared. The teacher grabbed my hand, poured the feed in, and shoved my hand under the fence. And the goat had a whole love affair with my hand and slobbered. And I was so repulsed. I cried. I was like, I'm going home. I want to go home. They literally had to put me back on the bus, and I just had to sit in silence on the bus with the bus driver while they finished because I was grossed out by the goat.
See, that was me with cows, because we used to have this place. I think they actually still have it. It's like northern Massachusetts, and you go. It's an ice cream place, but in the back is all the cows, and they make the ice cream there. And I'll just remember, like, they would have times that you could go and you could go milk the cow. And I just remember touching it and, like, the warmth, the little peach fuzz, and you're just like, I'm tugging on this cow's titty. Like, so I just have a thing so I get that. I have a thing with cows and that. So, you know.
I'm glad that we've elevated in life, like the same way you're not supposed to make children hug random people just because you say so that they can like have ownership of their bodies. I hope we recognize, don't make kids like force them to like feed goats and freaking animals. Like, it's not about fear. It's like, let me do that when I want to do it. But like,
because this isn't the 1900s where we have to churn butter and fucking milk goats.
I'm gonna die if I can't milk a goat or feed a goat. Like, stop. Let me make my decision. I might have pet the goat, but I didn't want to feed it because I saw his saliva and his tongue, and it was nasty. Anyway, so
no,
happy housewives and goats.
Happy housewives. And then so now wait, we got Miami off.
Miami's off. We've got Girls Trip, and we've got
Jersey.
And we don't know what's coming next.
I don't know what's coming next. Hopefully they give us just this little break for right now.
I thought it was going to be OC.
Oh, yeah.
But the reason I think maybe not is because I know you don't want to cover the Queens of R&B. But I'm sure that's only like 8 episodes max. So are they going to bring Atlanta back before OC?
Oh.
Because that's a Sunday night show.
Interesting. And I also wonder if Portia's gonna come back to Atlanta, because she's like, that was the one that said, oh, Bravo's buttering me up. And they're like, girl, it's Peacock.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Courtney, where can everyone follow you?
All over the whatevers at Stewart Starlet.
Boom. You guys can hit me up everywhere at DJ Jesse J. And until next week. Next Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday. I'll be back in LA and we'll do the damn thing. Same time, same place. Peace.